Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Islands of Insight. So I was just about to give up on the orb chase. It was here and then it goes to here, then it goes to here, then it goes up there, which is frankly about a foot too high. And I just got lucky. I managed to land the tip of my toe effectively on this, which then let me double jump and then triple jump to glide, triple jump in total, to get close enough to it to catch it. So I was able to do all the bonuses, so we now see that there are a mass of 17 puzzles still in this area, which that certainly seems like a lot. Now we know with some level of certainty that they are only going to be hidden blocks or cubes or chase orbs. We hope, or I hope at least, that they aren't a bunch of chase orbs. But we'll give this a chance. Hear a sound effect for a hidden one. That's one. I think that's probably what we're going to do, is we'll end up just going in circles. And so there you can see the orb in its final resting place, which I almost wonder if it would have made more sense that these orbs get chased around and they turn into the cloud drop orbs to potentially help you. That would be, yeah, unlock, solve. But if it did work that way, then inherently the rest of the cloud drop orbs in that set would have to only appear after you did the whole chasing orb. And if that was the case, then you'd have to have multiple sets of the cloud drop orbs appear, because otherwise it would be pretty obvious if there was just 5 orbs appeared out of nowhere that those 5 orbs are a part of one set. Yeah, this may not be too hard to actually finish this off, actually, because this could just be a certain level of thoroughness is needed to wander around these like big open central parts. You don't have to worry too much about. And again, I'm being very thorough here, perhaps to a fault. Perhaps it would make more sense. Wow, there is a whole puzzle here. Letters must be sorted into groups. Okay. This seems to me like this is going to be fairly easy to do. But it isn't fairly easy to do, is it? It is. Well, I could have done this perfectly. Let's not deal with any of the white, and we'll fill in the white at the end. Okay. That's all of the black ones. But what we have to do Let's move this forward. And then the D is just going to wrap all the way around. What's interesting about this is this highlights a much larger grid puzzle than we have seen in any of the others. And one of the grid puzzles I did in the last episode, I was struggling with because I thought 4 of the gray spots were spots that couldn't have any item in it at all, which I have no real justification in believing that. I think maybe that means something, because it seems like the game has pretty much proven that there will be no spots inside of a grid that can't be either light or dark. If they want to make it unlockable, it will have a gold frame around it and be either light or dark depending on what they want. See, certainly if this environment was more than just pretty generically rendered stuff, you'd think maybe that white rock would be a hint towards something. Okay. And I think the trick here is I just have everything kind of down, figured out pretty easily. These two may be wrong here. Probably would make more sense to do something like that. Very often what looks like the right move is just the right move. Okay. So how can we get the B's up and the A's up and the C's up? Just processing it out seems to work most of the time. So we got 12 more puzzles. I can see that there's several up on top of these pillars, but is it worth it to even try and jump when you can just instead get a lift up here and then do this? Whoops. Well, either I'm gonna have to properly land on that or at least click in the general direction. Assume interesting. Just right next to it and still don't see it. There's so many of these hidden blocks, and so it's gonna really suck when I do like turn in this daily quest and then get a daily quest to find a whole bunch more hidden blocks. But then it is also not really worth it to go back to the pearl. Probably is. But that, again, kind of highlights the weirdness of the way this game is designed, in that it's supposed to be this MMO experience in which you go back to one of the pearls, and by going back to one of the pearls you would get a new quest, instead of it just giving you quests as you accomplish the previous quests. Almost any other puzzle game, that would totally be how that worked. You would finish a luminous quest, is what they're called, and then they would give you another quest, and there would be some logic in those quests, push you forward and keep you playing, and give you some satisfaction, even if it is mostly false satisfaction, for making progress. More still around. That seems like a high number. One of the things about this is it does feel like it's very doable that there would be hidden cubes on top of pillars. Ones that are just slightly too far away to make noise. Although generally, I guess if I just kind of jump anywhere, there might be a height. Might give me an extra indication. I wish these cubes did something more, because that's another aspect here. If you're gonna try to make this more of a video game, you would probably have these hidden cubes give you some kind of different currency, and that there would be multiple currencies in the game, possibly making it so you can only unlock certain abilities by spending certain currencies, instead of all abilities being unlocked with the same currency of spark. At the very least, you could break it apart and have you could have a currency for cosmetics and a currency for upgrades. I've been everywhere around these big columns here. I have a tendency to believe that there isn't any more. Okay. We could probably glide all the way to that pyramid if we needed to. 5 still. Oh, well, we have found a way. Let's see if a high jump will get me out of this. No, I am stuck. Okay. Well, that gives me an excuse to teleport to this point We can go ahead and claim that. And one would assume that in 13 more hours this would resolve. On floor blocks. Sentinel stone puzzles and puzzle boxes. It's a 50-50 shot here. Either I take this or I take this. This one's more likely to be seen, but let's take this. Oh, and this has teleported me to a different pearl. Interesting. That is interesting. So we're just kind of in the total wrong place. Which does beg a question. If I was to go to the glass temple, can I redo? That's not the right symbol either. Has several blocks here. So where's that going? I don't know if these match boxes have been reset. Yeah, it goes up and then somewhere. And I keep missing it. Can't possibly be up there. No, it goes up and then over. Just curving around the edge of it. Being tricky. This highlights a point here in that the where to go then. I'd assume it probably comes back around. I did find out that if you tap the shift button, you will just start running. It's as long as you're holding down. Okay, where to go? It's curving. It's like back behind there. So this entire structure keep hearing a invisible arc over here. Well, this at least I think does a good job of showing the level of frustration you can potentially be at. Yeah. How you get up there, I have no idea. And so this is a much easier version of the chase sequence, but that I did off screen. Same kind of concept. Maybe that would get me where I need to be. The pearl there does kind of come off as something that feels like it might be more watery. Can I get on top of the pearl? If I could do that. So that's what you've got to do, is effectively fly, jump, fly through some of it. Which some of it you can fly through and some of it actually is solid. I keep hitting caps lock. I'm still having major problems controlling the character. Oops. Not gonna make it. Right. So ignoring that, let's get that. Oh man, there's so many buttons. So you can see also the hands. This is probably super easy to do. The hands are glowing blue, and at some point here I'd like to find an excuse to need to connect all the dark cells. Okay. So my guess here is the pattern probably is something like this. Because then you can just do that, you can do that. And then that. Nope. I'm doing something wrong. So we can't do 4, which means we've got to figure out a way in here. Can we get a way in here? No. So that and that and that. Okay. So looks like what we're doing is we're making a heart symbol. Slight variation on that pattern. I guess this is also a way you could end up So this is going to be an interesting test. If the puzzles have already been solved, walking through here will have already solved it. Yep. So I'll just click I'm stuck and go back to the pearl. Well, I was not expecting the game to respawn me at the beginning of the game. It's almost like it's recursively sending me backwards, further and further from where the game, where we were, which isn't the worst thought, certainly. But there's nothing here in this area, and I'd argue this is a linear area that kind of gives you a false impression as to what the overall experience is going to end up being. And we never used any of these hint orbs. So, revealed insights. Would you like to see a description of this puzzle? No. Merrily rings, sentinel stones, hidden pentad, skydrop. Yes, let's just go ahead and do this. This may be the only way you get these insights. And so perhaps it was a mistake for these to be even labeled as hints. Honestly, they're not really hints. Yeah, we struggled quite a bit to get on top of this building with double jump. It is now fairly easy. Then these sky drops staying around still doesn't really make a lot of sense as to why they stay. Some of them stay around, other than perhaps those are bespoke handmade ones. One thing about the glowing blue hands of my character is that it does really highlight how often we end up seeing hands. Didn't mean to click on that. Although, even in this game, it's actually kind of pointless to see hands. You see them when you're falling and when you're gliding and flying. In the same way you see a 3D version of yourself. You could have easily not had any of those elements. This could have just been move the camera forward so it feels like you're looking at a first-person perspective. Let's go and see what this has to say. When I passed my fellow Numa in the garden, I wonder, was I the one who found them when I was still lost, when they were still lost echoes? Have they too chosen to become seekers? Even the phrase seekers hasn't really been mentioned or used a lot lately, where they were making it out like that was a big and important thing. So the story here is telling me I'm supposed to be traveling to the Great Peril of Autumn Falls. So we have match 3 speed challenge, falling under pressure. Alright, well. here. Does this just go on forever? It kind of feels like it does just go on forever. Either this goes on forever, or interesting how drastically different that visually was. Let's get rid of that one, and that one. So this is just randomly generated, isn't it? Nothing wrong around that. This is making kind of a weird sound effect every time I solve it. Now, in the witness, just to once again compare it to that, there was a puzzle that was not too far from this, in the sense that, alright, so how am I gonna get this gone? You have to do something like that, but I'm gonna do that. Need something else. I'm gonna run out of time here. That took 22 moves. Kind of out of option. So my result was 9 puzzles. That didn't give me any sparks at all. So this is just an extra thing you can do. Interesting. That definitely makes more of an argument that these puzzles are procedurally generated. But then again, you could also simply make a collection of all the other puzzles and just organize them in a random order. For a speed challenge. And this is straight up an area we just haven't even been. Chromatic. Okay. Let's see. There's some red ones over here. They disappeared. You see any other colors? No. I think we've blew that. Oh well. Probably doesn't matter too much. This angle's gonna be too high. Double check I'm not rolling in points, which we kind of are. Edge of Sentinel Stones. Or Yeah, let's actually just wait and do the sights here. Now I actively chose to just kind of avoid doing any more in these areas. Definitely felt like I was going to end up spending too much time trying to solve puzzles that really I'll probably be better at solving later. This one really has got me. Don't see how we get that. The only thing I could think we could do is something like that. And then move that that way. Even that doesn't make sense. So it's gotta be that. Then 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 that. And that. Making more progress in the Verdant Glen while we're slowly walking to the next area. And I would have to assume this is probably somewhat of a transitional area to the next section, because there's noticeably a lack of... I don't even want to begin to really try this. Unless this is just going to have me chase it to a different section. Okay, we're back now to the Verdant Glen, which is where we wanted to be. We wanted to be at the Pearl here once I got stuck. And yeah, we'll just have to remember that this one here is missing a few puzzles. And yeah, it's not particularly too hard to do either, because, well, maybe it is kind of hard to do. But yeah, I also just don't want to end up back here. Anyways, we're being thorough. This feels to me like move here. It's probably just to move everything in an opposite direction. Maybe there's a little bit more to it than all of that. What's funny is there's this kind of middle. I don't see that middle go away. Looks like we're getting close. Are we getting close? And at a certain point, maybe we need to turn the colors like the exact opposite of that. I don't think so, though. does just feel completely upside down. That seems way closer. And in that case, the game did just snap to the correct answer. Find that a little surprising. Where is it? It's over there. This is a whole chase sequence. Another example of it probably. Yep. And you've got to jump up these. Right, well. Can't do that. Interesting. So we're going to have entire patterns here. Almost certainly. Yeah, you kind of can't do anything, can you? It is just something along that line. That can get me that much. That can get me that much. That's too much. That's too much. This is just going to make a nice little pattern. With slight choices. Shift. Press. Got it. Maybe I'm getting a little bit better with these. Okay. This can be 3. This can't be 3. This has got to be that. This has got to be that. I think that pretty much means that has to be that. That is 5. So one of these has to be wrong. We don't know which. Kind of doesn't matter either. Well then, that can't be that. That can't be that. That can be that. But then, if I was to do that, And that has to be that. Which I think that pretty much paints us into a corner there. Okay, so we've got a few wrong numbers here. Which, how can we address this? We can, this is white first of all, so it's locked into being white. Could do that, but then that's locked into being black, so that won't work. Can't do that, can't do that. Either I'm really wrong with a lot of things there. Just kind of need to find some empty space. Something that could possibly eliminate that. So we could do that. Why would we want to do that now? Inherently, unless I did that, then I would have to find some way of, say, like connecting that. No, there's no way. This is the case where foresight possibly is better. These can't both be right. Can't be right either. Man, what is going on here? There's no way any of that is close to being right. Wow. How can I be so incredibly off? I don't even know what to do here. We would need to block off several of these spots. A lot of it seems cracked. None of that's gotta be right. Could do that. Yeah. So is that is that way? Should make that have to be I don't even know. Like, this one's locked on being light. How's the game telling me that I'm wrong when it's giving me suggestions that make no sense at all? One, two, three, four. Can't be it either. And so it probably is worth it to just go ahead and buy an upgrade on this, because this is a fairly low difficulty puzzle and there's just something here that is slipping my mind. Okay. Well, that breaks things up differently. Is there another way to do this? One, two, three, four. What was I supposed to do with this mess? I guess you're supposed to go up like this. Still not sure. Okay. So couldn't do anything with that, couldn't do anything with that, couldn't do anything with that. And still can't really do anything with any of this. Oh, this is crazy. And I might very well be going around in circles. And take note on just how much of a speed bump this really is. And that compared to all the running around and sky drops and just running around to interact with much faster puzzles. Yep, this is a typical example of a difficulty spike, which the difficulty in defining difficulty spikes is that there is a decent possibility you and you alone are the ones experiencing it, the only person experiencing it. But yeah. Don't know what else I can do. We've got too many even up here, and 3 more there. So I'm definitely just brain drained at this point. Can't even imagine that I would see a new solution. I suppose since nothing really is happening over here, I could do this. Nope, can't. Okay. So do something like that, maybe do something like that, and no, it wouldn't work. It's got to be that. That won't work either. And the only real option is here. Is there a possibility of doing something like that? No. Wow. There's just no way that's right. It's gotta be something else. This is totally crazy. What in the world is going on here? Hmm. I have no clue. No clue at all. Okay. If I was going to reduce the amount, let's go with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go black. There. Okay. So what? This has to be white, this has to be white. This is one too many. Is there some way we could adjust for one too many? So these two have to be white, so that would have to be black. That fixes that. Then that would fix that. That took way too long. Way too long, particularly considering we're now just gonna jump back this way. Still not sure if that tree does anything. The reason we're jumping back here is to find the 5 remaining puzzles. Which could be anywhere. Kind of tried high. We haven't looked super in the low section. Medium is a good point to search. Still don't have a swimming or diving ability. So effectively you're walking on the water, aren't you? Yeah, you are. Try and stay up in the trees. Try and get high. While not getting too high. It's possible that there are a few, but I doubt 5 puzzles that I missed somehow. Hear it. Or decent odds that they're some more in this area. Waterfall sound effect is hiding the sound effect of the invisible cube, which is somewhere here. I don't think it's up there. I don't think I'd be hearing it. Right under the waterfall. So the waterfall actively was hiding the sound of it. I think we did this one. Yep. Section somewhat here. We haven't spent too much time in this middle area. Moving on, I guess there might be a lesson here to look at the base of all waterfalls. There isn't a hidden cube, and we already know to look around the edges of these platforms because there are some drop down spots. I kind of feel like these platforms should be more mandatory landing spots, to the point where there might be even a spot where the ground is worn down some more. It is kind of strange that I can push myself in certain directions and increase the odds of getting closer to that direction on the platforms. Unfortunately, this feels like this is going to be a cleanup episode, and I'm not going to make a lot of progress moving forward. Which, in fairness to that thought, we really haven't done as much as we probably should in Lucid Waters. Three more puzzles. Because it is possible they're all up there. It's also possible that there are two up here and one somewhere else. also just need to fly around. Although flying around still really hasn't proven. Suppose we could go back and forth and just mow the grass of the territory. But one assumes that a big empty area like this is unlikely to have anything in it. I suppose it is possible also that there was an orb and, or some other kind of puzzle that I'm not really looking for. Let's see. Weaving solemnly back and forth between the columns just to see if that would change my perspective any. What would happen if we go this way? It does look like we could just fly. Shattered oasis. Is there some kind of possibility that needed to get really high? Because this is kind of the highest point in this first level. Could be rings also. I'm still not really thinking that there will ever be like entirely hidden lower paths and lower sections. Two more. It does seem like the locations of them probably are hidden next to the sound effects of other things. So if we are next to something like this, I should listen and look. There might very well be a hidden cube. Being very sneaky. Solved one that was down there. Is there possibly one over here? The thing about this is there's kind of one everywhere. So if I'm in a spot where sound effect is playing, I only have to look slightly in one direction and I will find the cube that's already been found. I could definitely see where getting the bonus function to make it louder would also help. Although, it may not be the best solution, because if they make the jingle sound of the hidden cubes louder, it might just expand the amount of areas you have to search. Probably isn't a terrible thought to hold back and not take that ability until later in the game. Really could be anywhere. There's no saying we won't get a map. Yeah, nothing really implying that at some point we won't just get a map that would show us exactly where all of the puzzles are. Haven't spent a lot of time over here. I suppose that's possible. There could be something hidden. Okay, we are down to one remaining cube, which is nice, but also is dangerous, because you still have a decent chance of not finding that one cube. Trying to go in opposite circles and try and cover new ground. And I don't have perfect memory, so it's not like I'll remember every single square foot. Okay, if there was a puzzle here, then maybe there's a puzzle over here on the edge to mirror that. I seriously doubt the game is doing me any favors, such as teleporting me to a nearby location or pointing me in the right direction. I imagine there are just some preset locations. There's so many of these so close by. And I could see myself also just ignoring a cube, thinking it had already been solved. Maybe I should walk on the water. Is there possibly something higher up? It really feels like there should be something here. No invisible cube there. I feel like I can almost hear the jingle. It's one of the notes in the background music that plays. Is similar enough. And the jump sound effect is similar enough. Been up here a lot of times. Is there a possibility that on one of these ledges there's a hidden cube? It almost feels like there should be a hidden cube. All I'm really looking for here, by the way, is hidden cubes. So if I should be looking for something else. I guess it is just a case that a lot of things make a lot of sounds. All the sounds sound alike. Here's one last puzzle. Probably a hidden cube. Hidden. Probably in a more generic spot. So what I think I have to do is resolve to assume that it is in this lowest tier. Not only is it in this lowest tier, it's probably in a low spot in the lowest tier. Question is where? Where is it? Again, if I was gonna try and cheat this and look up where the hidden cube is, I'd need some kind of interactive map or something. Otherwise I wouldn't even be able to begin to point where I am or slowly whittle down all the places, all the ones I've already collected. Feels like it should be sticking out like a sore thumb. Shouldn't be this difficult. possible. It's on one of these. Internal platforms here. It's possible it's just here. Possible it's on the other side. One of those. Everything is possible, I suppose. There's just so many of these also that are right next to each other, so I do just have the feeling that there is a hidden cube that's right next to. No, a lot of these landing positions I probably am not doing the best job of investigating those areas. If there was a box, grid puzzle, or hidden cube just here, it'd be kind of easy to miss. Look for other kinds of puzzles, and the listen part for hidden cubes. I should keep my eyes just posted upwards. I've kind of run out of things to say at this point. Yeah, I'm trying very hard to be thorough. But that is translating to just a lot of time being spent. Found it, finally. Okay. So we are here. This is locked and would require a lot more mirror bliss. This is locked. It will require me to be better at the Wandering Echo mastery level, and so perhaps that's the thing that I should do. Let's see, can we just fast travel here? Let's see, monolith. This requires 2 mysteries. Apparently I haven't done even one. So I'm seeing, yeah, what's going on here. Is that I would need to find the wandering echo. Well, not wandering echo. I need to find the wandering orb level of mastery to bring it up to unlock that next enclave, and because I haven't done that, the game is just making a choice to send me to the next area. Let's see what this is all about. Shouted laughter echoes longer. Shared laughter echoes longer, I would assume. Okay. All right. So each one of these splits into something. The question, I guess, do we have to get them all at the same time? If we do, that's a heck of a... I don't think it is a case that we have to get them all. I think more than likely well, maybe you do. No, it says I've done 2 of them already, so... This is exactly what... So there's more than just the 5 it's asking you to do. So this is like an enclave, with the slight exception that it isn't an enclave. Doing that much gives us a Mariblis. Which, you know what, let's take a brief moment here. Kind of do want to go to this point after all that frustration with hidden cubes. Would make a lot of sense. But if I do that, I have to go here, and then that still would be really expensive. Let's just go with this. Okay. We just unlocked the lore fragment. I ended the last episode wondering if I had to click on everything, and I guess I probably do. So these are all insights here that I earned actually solving puzzles. The history, the blue hint ones don't seem to be included in this. It is possible though I earned those same insights some other way. See, I don't even want to read any of this until it is all linear, but we're definitely not getting it linear. All of this is just a little lore giver glowing things. You know, you are in a weird situation here too, where they've made this game to be an MMO, and then they have not even used the character creator to make their own characters. Let's see. Just constantly trying to make the ugliest looking character. I'm not really trying to do that. It just comes out that way. The truth is, most of these colors just don't work. Yeah. Whether we could buy more things if we had shards, but why would we? So let's change that, That then hints at a more gold skin color. I think you need kind of a darker skin color if you want the markings to actually stand out. Let's see, this was a common one. Generally, I would prefer that, or just none at all. Then this was your default trails and that. So I'm trying to play with this in some way to see if we're unlocking anything new. I don't know why any of this is collapsible either. It makes no sense. It should always be expanded. Unless you were adjusting for the size of my screen. And the hair here won't even show because I'm wearing the helmet. And this won't show either. This is all about just showing off to other players, which there aren't any other players in single player mode. Yeah. So I've kind of unlocked just a couple of items as far as headpieces. See if I check use helmet hair 2, I assume that's about the same. So kind of a significant amount of these that I just don't like. Right, well, at the very least I gave it to college trying and made some progress there. That should let me now go to this location. Let's see, we now have a Sonnet Wonder 3. My new eyes strained against the blinding light of my own inner core, still fading into my new form with each breath. Life coursed through my being, the wind carried scents and sounds and took on new understanding. It was like reawakening senses that have never existed before. So that is not an Echoes of Time core thing. No. And see, that's an example of some falling action while we do all that menu stuff. It's not particularly good because they're then going to do more of this. Well, actually, let's not do any more of those. Let's instead come over here and see what this is. This looks completely new. Stand upon the highest lands in the known realm and fly towards the worlds within worlds. Half there, drop to the ground and solve the lone logic grid in the area that harbors a secret. If all the lotuses are rotted an eighth, if all the lotuses are rotated an eighth of a turn clockwise. Okay. So, is this the highest spot in the world? No. Is there a giant wall here? Yes. We can see through it. The flame of enlightenment. So there are barriered off sections, which maybe that means that there are sections elsewhere that have been barriered off. Is that the highest spot in the world, or is that the highest spot in the world? I thought this is where all the Mariblisses were going, but apparently not. If anything, I bet there's more of these that we have to find somewhere. And then there's going to be a bunch of hints to some kind of smaller Trickster Island. Okay, well, let's see how this goes. All light regions have an area of 22. Which an area count. All number of things must equal. These are super easy puzzles. All light must connect. Connect all light cells, so it must be that. That must be that. Don't make make this pattern. Okay, well, connect all light cells. Is that not the exact same puzzle we just saw? Don't make a pattern that is square. Interesting. Wait a minute. Okay, that one got me. Connect all the dark cells, connect all the light cells. Alright, well then, white, white, dark. So this feels like this is just making pictures more. Don't make this pattern. Connect all the dark cells. Exactly one symbol per light area. Okay. It's gotta be that. So that's a new rule. Exactly one symbol per light area. That one was an actual puzzle. All numbers are off by 1. Okay, well then. Don't make that pattern. Oh, now we're doing Knight's Move puzzles. Right, well then. Let's just start with that. Knight's Move refers to basically a Sudoku variant. And I think with this we can just assume it's a checkerboard pattern. This pattern, all dark regions must have 4. The light regions must be 17. That's the right amount. Don't make this pattern. Okay. This is probably a great point where all area numbers must equal region size. All numbers are off by 1. Okay. Since all numbers are off by 1, that means we've got to do this. So just add 1 to everything. It's another, just don't put any darks at all. Now the weird thing about this Trickster Island is this is effectively giving you solutions that are just not going to be valid. And yeah. Don't make this pattern. Don't make that pattern. So I can't do much more. I really can't go anywhere. I am seeing if I glide over here, a glass puzzle. This is in a completely different area. Now, before we try this, let's see. Where are we? What are the bonuses for doing glass puzzles? Where are they? Crystal Labyrinth. Receive additional sparks in mastery if you solve a Crystal Labyrinth quickly. If we can go less than 50% of part time. So direction, or am I going the wrong direction? It'd help if I knew where I was supposed to be going. I don't think there's a way here. I think that's the wrong path. So if we hold X and reset, time does not reset. So you only get one chance at this, and then you're done for. That's where we want to go. So we need to go down there. it does definitely feel like this is a puzzle that is only solvable quickly if you had already known the answer. Maybe that's the trick that I'm missing here. Maybe the move is to walk around the whole place. Might be the trick, is that you're supposed to just walk around the outside and map out your whole plan. That would turn what has felt traditionally more like a kind of rambly experience. To get under that. I'm struggling here. Like, are we in a different spot, or have we just gone in circles? This just bounces me up into the central spot. There's nothing here. Finally. You'll just never have another opportunity to solve that maze, I suspect. Or if you do, it'll just be the exact same experience. So yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like you're stopped from going to this new area. Well, why would you? I think this was the exact next area they were going to have you go through anyways. Although it would be nice to see just a gate, something that's like a gate, something with a key, something that told you whether or not this is the right direction. This tells me I'm not in the right direction. Where are we even on the map? Yeah, we are just on the edge. The whole quest for perfection is somewhere around here. This is a monolith. I can hear a cube. Where's the quest for perfection? Is that what this is? Oh, this is something different. You have to listen and then play. Okay, it's a musical thing. And that just locked in. That wasn't too difficult, but it's another great example of them just using the exact same grid patterns. Obviously, that was not something that this whole open world came late in the design, and that there was almost certainly going to be a much simpler game of grid puzzles. There is also a possibility that the developer of this game was developing grid puzzles for a completely different game, possibly to even just sell it to any game, because that would kind of make sense. Just make a collection of grid puzzles and then have it as your falling action experience when you want the player to take a breather. I hear the cube. I think I hear a cube, but I do not see a cube. Lower. A lot of fancy design here. Entire hidden. Looks like an entire hidden section here. Either that or I'm just glitching through. Maybe the monolith. Changes something. So this is the quest for perfection. In this grid puzzle challenge, anything you fill is final. 3 mistakes and you're out. Try to solve 5 puzzles. Okay. Letters must be sorted into types per area. So that's right. Then inherently this has to be black. This has to be black. And then that has to be black. Means that's white. That's white. Means this is black. And this is black. This is black. And then that's 1. Problem here is how this is going to take you. Like, one little mistake is all you need to make, and then you ruin your quest for perfection. And then I don't know if you can reset it and try again, or if it simply just gives you a you failed, or just rewards you accordingly. Okay, well, there's a whole other ring here. There's rings. I wasn't even looking at the edge here. So this has to be white for that much. That has to be black for that much. That has to be white for that much. Okay. Then that eliminates that, so that has to be black, and then that has to be white. This one has to go down. We know that much. Which makes that black. Okay. Which means this has to be white, which means that has to be black, which means that has to be white, and that has to be white. And then that's 5, so 6 now, and then 7 has to be black, and that has to be black. That's white, and that fixes that. 4. So we now have a streak of 75, which a streak is just going to keep going up. And we've solved 2. Does it? Yeah, does it stop once we get to 5 puzzles? Or are we done? Okay, so if we're segregating things, then that has to be black and that has to be black. And then that has to be black. And then weirdly, I guess this has to be black too. And then I guess this has to be black too. And then all the rest of this can just be white. There's no extra rules. Connect all the dark cells. this much. Okay, we have 3 strikes. That was my first strike. I made an assumption there. I was wrong. Do we need to separate these two? Which then, because we're connecting all the blacks, means that's going out that way. This 4 has to go this way, then. That does that, and that does that. Leaving that as the only option there. This has to connect to that. So then that is there. Now I still have 1 strike, though. Okay, so obviously this is black, which then makes everything around it white. Okay, which makes this white, which makes that black. This has to be black. This has to be black. So we could go this way to get to 7. But this has to be white. And then this has to be black. And this has to be black. This has to be black. There's no way around it. So either that, that, or that is black at that point. Your first instinct would be to make this white, make these 2 white, and then you'd just be done with this side and the rest of the space would be taken up over here. I guess this has to be white because 1, 2, 3 here plus that would make it 4 and 5. Okay, and then that brings this down to a 5 with a 6. So either one of these is white and then the rest is not. Okay. So the options here are this is white, and then this would be black, and this would be black, and this would be black. And that's not going to work. One of these 2 has to be white. It actually can't be this one, come to think of it. So then that fulfills this. So that has to be white, and that has to be white. 2, 4, 6 makes that white. Makes that black, and then 5, 6, 7 makes that black, makes that black, which my thought here is to just put 3 blacks here, and then 1 white here, and then 2 whites there. So, congratulations, you've completed 5 puzzles and earned a Mare Bliss. And it just stops. Okay. Now, is a quest for perfection actually any significant different, or that significantly different from the unclear puzzles where you were only supposed to put things in that were absolutely true? Oh, it's pretty obvious that that's supposed to be a circle. But I cannot get it to line up. Got a couple of greens here, but no real reds in sight. Another monolith fragment. Wait a minute. If the monolith fragments are gold like that, doesn't that mean I could just follow all of these blue lasers to see where they go? No. That's not the case. They turn blue after a second. Complete the pattern. Oh, there's no fill to this. No extra ability to fill in things like that. Oh yeah, there's yet another kind of obvious ring. It's almost like some of the sky drops are literally in the way of other sky drops. Is exactly the case. So any possible way I'm gonna hit. I would half suspect the whole point of the non-spinning rings is that they have handmade those, and that the spinning ones are more procedurally generated. There's no way you're gonna get that, and I'm not even gonna begin to try that right now. We are getting slightly better at these chase ones. Was not expecting it to Seriously? How are you supposed to get up there? I imagine the move is to reach that area. What in the world was that? So yeah, these sky drops, they feel like they move or they spawn, and may just be infinite. But it really feels like there's a lot going on. Okay. So we don't want a pattern, and we must connect all light cells, which means like that, or well, it's almost everything. Okay, we must connect all light cells. How in the world would you do that? Guess you do it that way. But then you have like real numbers also getting completed. I'm still very confused as far as just whether I should be believing this 10,000 count as far as the puzzles. As is this something to take seriously as far as there actually is 10,000 puzzles here, or is it just a case that you get into areas like this where they procedurally are generating, or at least it seems like they're procedurally generating puzzles over and over again, or spawning in puzzles over and over again. So yeah, that definitely makes for a different experience when you just know it doesn't matter. Any possible way. I have to get that ring too. Two at a time. Okay. This one actually looks pretty easy. It isn't, but it looks that way. There's a tiny little purple ring. I don't know if it's actually acting as much of a spoiler or not, but I haven't spent a lot of time here running around this center spot. Definitely seems like there's a lot of stuff here. It could be done. And I guess I kind of made a weird decision in that I was trying to do all the enclaves, and if I follow down on that decision further, I'm not even going to bother to chase that one. It would simply, the map would simply push me to this next area, which it wants me to go to Autumn Falls, not whatever this area is. But I did accomplish this. The trick of the Wanderer was faster than flight. Arches from the Azure aligned a weaving path. So this is a whole flying section. And I wonder if it is literally just going to be start gliding as soon as you land in this area. So almost certainly, this feels a little glitchy again, this is one of these sections like over here that had a whole shield around it, so I just totally went quiet there. I'm starting to fall asleep here. Yep. By the looks of it, this isn't a very long area. And we got flung way over here. Like weird. Yep. And so it's very possible that you will get flung to other enclaves. So as far as Lucent Waters go, the Shattered Library seems to be the one we haven't done, so let's see if we can find that. This one would require 2 mysteries to have been found. I haven't found any, and complete Serene Deluge. Shattered Library, we did get everything there. So why is it labeled here like we've gotten nothing? No, we haven't gotten here at all. We could go there though, so let us mark, let's see, map marker. The mouse button didn't work for some reason the first time. Okay, so that'll be the next thing we try to do, just so we can get as much of these enclaves done. Otherwise, there's like 6 movements, 2 actions, 1 more environment, half a whole dozen of puzzle boxes. We found almost all the hidden objects, and then perspective wise, Seems we still have a bunch of those. A whole bunch of trials and all seeing monolith. So, yeah. It does seem to me like the sky drops are not important. And then we did that one music challenge. We could have potentially have gotten a little bit more reward for that. And we have not leveled up once again. We have only 4 types of puzzles we haven't seen, which makes me suspect that things like music grid are going to occur very rarely, and they might very well be one-off puzzles or in very small areas that you do only a dozen of. So particularly when you start to talk about audio and music, The Witness had a music section that Jonathan Blow went out of his way to make optional, because he knew a lot of people were going to struggle with it or be tone deaf or just be deaf. Noticed that the music grid there was not giving any kind of feedback or subtitles, so if you had hearing impairment, you really couldn't play this game for the music grid, but also you really couldn't play this game for the hidden cubes. Your eyesight alone probably would not be good enough for all of that. And I don't even feel like it's important enough to go and check out any more of the lore. Once again, I went out of my way to redecorate myself, looking fairly Egyptian inspired now, and it just doesn't mean anything at all. It's just pointless. I would gladly take a single character model, even if it was just you can't even select your gender, if it was just your standard video game guys, because that sells a few more copies of a game model of a character that had just been visually polished a little bit better. That would have been nice. Once you get rid of the MMO nonsense and the character creator nonsense, then you can hire a voice actor of any quality, which would have been nice too. Once you have a voice actor of any quality, then there's a focus on the dialogue and the narrative of the story more, and you can hire then a better writer who would actually write things, so that there would be kind of an experience here. And there's all kinds of stories you could tell where somebody wakes up in a puzzle world and is trying to figure out what's going on. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.